Hi, today we have a very diversified variety of topics that we're going to be talking about. Everything from light therapy with a naturopath to the author of this book who has done some psychic readings as well as being a life coach. And Dr. Tony Kufis is here joining us again also because he's going to have a little bit of a reading. But this book was written by David Beck, Conversations on Success with some Successful People, and we're going to be talking to him about that. And we have Dr. Melody Hart here today. She's a naturopathic doctor. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
You've been on our show before. It's been quite a while. Been trying to get you back for a while. We have David Beck. He's the author of the book.
Thanks. Thank you for having me.
And a life coach. And Dr. Tony Kufis, who's an iridologist, reflexologist, and naturopath also. So I want to start with you, Dr. Hart. First of all, you did some light therapy on me years ago, and it was very interesting, but most people don't know what that's about. Can you tell us what it's about?
It's a machine that's from Germany that projects 20 different colors of lights, and it's actually working with the chakra system of the body. So it starts at the root chakra and actually goes interdimensionally. And each chakra, if people aren't familiar with what they are and what they do, they're energy centers that run along your spine, and they control physical parts of your body as well as emotions. And so they can help to balance things that are out of balance on the body, but it can also be used to improve your eyesight for post-traumatic stress disorders and Alzheimer's, cancer, all sorts of things.
It changes emotions,
yes,
too.
It changes your
What was
emotions.
the red? I'm trying to remember.
The root
The
chakra.
heart, the root chakra?
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
That's your survival and, you know, will you make it in this life? And
What's blue?
blue is actually more, it could be your throat chakra, and that's communication, or it could be your third eye, which is the indigo color up there.
Okay, and David, you have done some psychic readings as well as being a life coach. And actually, you did one by phone on me yesterday.
I did, and we did the chakras, yeah.
With some cards. Now, how does this work out? Like, she's got very scientific things going on, and yours are more abstract. So how do you explain that?
Well, it's spirit, and for me, science and spirit work hand in hand. We're all one. With the chakras, it is our root chakra and vocal and heart chakra. And what I do is I have been psychic all my life, but I went to life coaching school and learned how emotional fear plays in. So when I'm giving a reading, not only am I communicating with spirit and past loved ones will come through, but it really is about the client sitting and transforming their emotional fear and living the success that they want in their life and really being full of love, you know.
Well, the reason I believe in that is when I was in grammar school, I remember coming home to change clothes because I was going to win a prize. And my mother said to me, are they having some kind of an award this afternoon? I said, well, they haven't mentioned it yet, but I'm going to win something. And I did change clothes, and I did win something.
You did win.
And there were other times when I had premonitions about things that were going to happen. Maybe I didn't know the exact thing that was going to happen, but I knew if it was going to be good or bad. And so I know, you know, we're kind of, I think, like a radio antenna or something, which happened once on a show. We were picking up a radio show during the time I was interviewing the guests, and I had one of those things in my ear, which I don't use anymore, and I could hear all the directors and all the camera people and a radio show going on at the same time I was talking. And at first I thought I had a problem. I was hearing voices, you know, but it was one of the guests had a titanium rod in his knee, and it was picking up the radio show. So we do pick up things like that.
Sure.
Yeah, we are psychic, and we all are intuitive. We're all connected.
We can all do it.
We all can do it. It's the practice of it. It's you know, it's like going to a gym and building that muscle. The more we do it, the more we become alive.
Raising your awareness.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
It is about awareness.
pay
That's
more
the first
attention.
key. Pay more
I also
attention.
went to a psychic or a reader one time in Florida that a lady that owned a health food store sent me to. Nobody there knew anything about me. And this man actually said he was going to experience the way each person died that was trying to give me a message that was on the other side. And I didn't tell him anything. And he did. He showed that my father had a heart attack, my grandmother had a stomach problem and things like. And then he would tell me things that they had said to me in my life in their words.
Right.
So, I mean, it does happen. It does
Right,
happen.
and for me, sometimes I will have someone that's passed on, and it'll begin with a name or something that has happened. But also too, I connect with if you've been thinking about someone, like if I remember correctly, you were thinking about someone, and I had said, how do you connect with this name? And that's how it came up. And the same for you when I was giving you the reading.
Yes.
It was about
So
your brother.
What
Yes.
happened with yours, Tony?
Well, he just he looked and listened, and he threw out some names, a couple of names, and one of them was George, and it was my brother, and there wasn't any real issues related to it negatively. It's just that he caught that and picked it up and presented it to me, and I said absolutely.
And for Tony too, it's about embracing time for him and giving himself a little break and you know, rejuvenating. And we as human beings, how often do we say, I don't have time, right? I don't have time, and the truth is, we all have time. It's, are we worth it? Like, are we a priority? So,
Are we going to allow ourselves to use it?
yeah, and accept it for ourselves. It's already here. So it's, you know, sometimes we get to say no to someone else and yes to ourselves. But
Did you actually get a message from your brother? Through
No,
this?
we
No.
didn't.
well, no,
We
because
didn't
he's
go
still
to
alive,
that.
correct?
Yeah.
He's
Oh,
still
okay.
alive,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, okay.
My oldest one is passed on, but this particular one is around.
So he could
Yeah.
give you a message
Well,
directly.
and that's with our loved ones that have passed on, they're all around us. I mean, energy, it's a continuum. It never stops. We're spirits in a human body, so this is just a shell. So we can connect with them, and they're around, and they can actually do more for us on the other side if we're willing to take the time and embrace it and
Sure.
meditate and connect.
How does that interact with the things that you teach and the things you do for people?
Well, I actually use it in my work as well. I like to do medical intuitive work and just to try to get more information so that I can be more helpful with people. And I can also be empathetic, as well as we were talking a little bit, that sometimes you'll feel things, and I'll feel like certain pains in people's body that they don't even maybe mention to me. And so it's just helpful.
So you can identify that they had it and they're
That
about to have it, or they've already had it?
Or that they have it right at the moment.
That they have it right at the
Yes,
moment.
yes.
And they are suppressing it? They don't know, or they're not telling
they
you?
they might not have mentioned it. It might not have come up in the conversation, or I might be giving them a treatment, and I can feel that things are being relieved and things are shifting. So it's wonderful.
And as an iridologist, why there's emotional connections to specific organs, it's been clinically proven over the years. So there's, when we're talking about liver, we're usually talking about the emotion of anger and strong disappointment, or thyroid with the same emotion. So there's specific emotions connected to specific organs, and that's all vibrations.
And you use
I love it.
reflexology then to work it out?
Yes.
After you identify it through iridology?
That's right. I validate that to the person that may not understand that well. So when I look in the eye and I see a heart or liver or kidney issue, then I'll go to the foot and hit that acupressure point, and when they say it's tender there, I've related the issue to them by that acupressure pressure. And then we recommend nutrition to start supporting that area.
Okay, what would each of you say is the typical patient that comes, or client that comes to your office?
I have a wide variety. It's really pretty vast. But a lot of people with chronic health conditions and chronic pain, Lyme disease is a big portion of my practice.
And what are you able to do for that? What therapy do you use?
I have several different therapies, so I use the OnDemand mainly for that. It's a pulsed electromagnetic frequencies, and it actually, every organ in your body has a specific frequency or vibration, as you were saying.
Yes.
And so you can actually analyze the body by taking the pulse and scanning through the frequencies, and your pulse will spike if there's an organ or system that needs to be supported. So that can help the nervous system and help chronic pain, back pain, even emotional things like depression and things like that.
So does it give you a surge then, or what does it do?
It gives you a pulse. Your pulse will actually spike, and then I can diagnose the body that way, but then I can treat with that same machine.
Will that show up on the chart on the machine, that spike?
Yes.
Is that how it's registered?
Well, actually, I can feel it.
Oh, okay.
So it's a sensitive thing again.
Sure.
So then you would say any age group comes to you? Or?
Yes, I see babies all the way. My oldest patient's like 91.
And how do they find out about you?
Typically word of mouth and also through the internet.
And what about you?
I have a variety of clients. However, I work very well with people who have had trauma, abused as younger in age, because I as well and was, and a lot of people who have anger, who get to work on forgiveness, and yeah, also passion. You know, what do I want? I don't know what to do in my life, and so I help them discover their passion and create success in their life.
But you don't tell them what to do.
No.
They just by talking to you.
Right, talking, and the way I work with each client is different. Sometimes I will utilize cards and angel cards, but it all is through intuition and giving homework. So they're coming up with their answers. They're coming up and doing their work.
You just bring it out of them.
Right.
Yeah.
I shine light back onto and repeat what they're saying to me, and I've been known to, tell it like it is, but with compassion,
It's kind of like in psychiatry. You repeat back to people what they say, mirror them.
Right.
So
and
why did you write this book, Conversations on Success?
Well, this was actually my baby step of becoming a published author. The publishing company contacted me, and it happened actually right when I didn't know my mother had passed away, but it was a way for the connection to happen. And it was the baby step, so that's how I came onto it. They contacted me and said, "Hey, want to do it? Okay."
Well, did they contact the people you were going to interview?
They actually already had the interview, and they figured that I would be a well-suited fit.
So you
Wow.
interviewed Dr. John Gray. I've seen him on television,
Yeah,
Venus and Mars.
Yeah, yeah. And all the authors in that book give different success strategies. There's anywhere from retail to my chapter is about spirituality, but also on the human level. So yeah, real estate.
So
all
give us
different
one or
success.
two of the tips.
Well, in my chapter, it breaks down evolution, and the first key is really about the energy that we are, and we can be very up or we can be very down, and for some people, it's really about igniting and charging that battery and doing what it is they love, and the second is vision. Everything around us, our vision is that of our own creation, so it's about taking that personal responsibility and making your vision happen.
I can remember writing down the name of my future business years before I ever did it, because I found it on a piece of paper on my desk years later. And it had a date on it that was several years before I even started it. So I guess I always knew.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
It's
I
your
always knew
soul.
about my book.
It's your
nursing, I
soul
don't know.
contract. I do believe that we choose our life and we come in and,
Well, did you see the other book that we had in a previous show, and it was called Coincidence is God's Way of Remaining Anonymous? I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, synchronicity.
Yeah.
Synchronicity. It is.
So, Dr.
cute.
Tony, what's your client like?
My clients basically, and I even presented in my brochure, I give them the opportunity to try something different, because the bulk of the people on the street have been following the medical method through drugs and surgery for a long time, and I just say, why don't you try something different if that hasn't worked for you? So when you bring them away from that direction and looking at something else, then there's all these wonderful natural modalities that are available out there, and we just kind of introduce them to them, and some of the ones that I use can help a lot of people.
And I know you can eliminate pain, because I've certainly
Yes.
had a lot of them. But I want to tell a story about Dr. Kufis too. There was a friend of mine that I ran into that had lung cancer. And
Yes.
although he wanted to go through the traditional therapies of medicine, which I don't necessarily agree with,
Yes.
even though I come from traditional medicine as a
Yes.
registered nurse, he would not hear of anything else. And of course, that was his choice. So I said, fine, you go through the traditional medicine, but I insisted that he also take the things and the supplements that you suggested. And he was out having a good time every day. And the doctors at the hospital said to him, why are you well and our other patients aren't? And he said, well, I'm taking this stuff and these supplements that you had suggested. And they
Yes.
said, oh, don't be ridiculous, don't take that.
Yes.
It wasn't months later and he was deceased.
Yes,
So, I mean, it
that's-
makes a big difference to take some of these things and some of these natural things that help your body.
Yes,
Have you seen situations like that with your patients?
totally. And using homeopathics, diet is really important. So food-based nutrition is really good, but supplements in the meantime till you can change your lifestyle is really important.
So what do you eat?
I have a smoothie every day. I think that that's like one of the
Classic
best things
question.
that somebody can do while they're trying to transition to have a healthier lifestyle. So a protein drink with some fruits and vegetables every morning, I think is like a great key, you know, until you work around some of the other things to eat more fruits
What
and vegetables.
exactly do you put in it?
I put things like apples and bananas, but I'll have kale. I like raw cacao is like really important. It's a chocolate antioxidant without sugar.
Oh.
Yeah, so
Oh.
it's delicious. I like goji berries.
It works.
Oh, yeah? Where do you get this chocolate thing?
You could get them at Fruitful Yield. Whole Foods is another place to get something like that.
Have you tried that?
Yeah.
You did have a non-sugar chocolate, I remember, in your office before. Was that it?
Yeah, you know, you can mask so many bitter flavored foods by just putting a little bit of fruit or chocolate flavoring, which is carob product. That's what I've used over the years.
Well, do you use yogurt in with it, or just?
You can, when you start doing that, you'll just start adding things and subtracting things because you want the variety. And it's just like juicing, you know, juicing can get a little bit boring once in a while, so you mix it up once in a while and you do it for a while and take a break, and then you go to smoothies for a while, but you're always trying to get fresh, raw nutrition into your body, and that's the big
Well,
key.
Melody, what made you go into this in the first place?
My mother was really a conduit because she was pretty sickly, and I wanted to find out ways to help her as well as other people in my life.
So you started early.
I
doing
started
this.
early. It was also a passion. I started doing yoga and started looking into herbs and vitamins when I was a teenager, and so it's really been a lifelong passion as well.
So you did it before it was fashionable then?
I did.
And so did you, Tony.
Yes. I started when I was 6. I became aware that there was something going on that didn't agree with me in the way people were cared for. And then the second opportunity when I was 12, when I had an injury, and my father gave advice to some medical people at the time. And my father had a 4th grade European education, and I said, gee, I like my dad's idea better. So I said, there might be more to this. So that's when I really started looking, and I never really looked back.
And I like to combine them, the
Yes.
traditional and the natural.
Absolutely.
But there are a lot of natural therapies that I have found on myself and other people that have worked better than
Yes.
the traditional medicine. Sometimes
Yes.
traditional medicine adds to the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there are things that are taken into your body that are poisonous to your body.
Sure.
And your body has to be really strong to fight those off.
And they're excellent with trauma care. I mean, we have surgeons that are just phenomenal at what they're doing today, especially with our boys that are getting broken up and shot and all this stuff that in the Middle East. And it's we're very fortunate to have good, skilled surgeons to do that. But when it comes to chronic daily health issues, why, it'd be interesting for them to kind of come in our direction.
Well, I think they are now. I mean, even
Yeah.
in the medical schools, they're having alternative therapies brought in and stuff like that, which they didn't used to have.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
don't know, do you consult in any hospitals yet? That should be the next thing they do.
Yeah. Well, a few years back, I was at Masonic for about 1.5 years, so they are looking, you know, in that direction. There's still issues there, but at least they're looking in that direction.
Do you have any thoughts on the things that are the ionic things that push away the electrical things in your body? You know, like they have necklaces and watches and things like
there's
that.
the Ionic foot bath too.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
just
that's
got
the
one of
first thing
those.
that I was
Tony's
thinking
got
about.
one of those in
Well,
his office, yeah.
Yeah, for the hydrotherapy.
But
Yeah,
I think
I
you're
love that.
talking about things like this
Yeah.
that actually help protect from cell phones and computers and
Yeah.
radiation
Yeah,
and
yeah.
things like that, and helps with your balance, and it works.
Yeah.
So this is a pretty one. Let me see this
Thank you.
one. I have one at home. I know that they work, and I'll tell you why, because I had one for a show one time, and then after I left the show, I had to go meet somebody, and I was diverted to O'Hare Airport instead of being able to get off at Oak Brook.
Wow.
And normally I would have had a fit over this. And they kept calling me, and I was very calm. I said, I'll get there when I get there. They said, what happened to you? Well, this must have been absorbing the ionic things.
Well, too, it is also the belief that we put into it, the trust and
Allowing
and
it.
our belief and allowing
The
and
intention.
the intention in it, knowing that we're the powerful one saying, this is going to help me and I'm going to believe in this.
Sure.
But you know, I was watching a
Believing
show the
yourself.
other day where somebody was talking about these things not working, and I don't know where he gets his information, but and he was talking about sports people.
Well,
not
there's
doing
the
it and stuff.
belief, though.
I know, but I thought that was ridiculous because I could tell for myself, and they even had machines where there wouldn't be bugs in your house because of one of these type of things. And
Yes.
I don't know. That's a pretty one, though.
Yeah,
Thank you.
along the way they could test the energy. They have methods of testing that, and I even have a little item that's attached to my cell phone that helps to cut down the radiation from the cell phone. So there's a lot of those.
Yeah, try to use your speaker phones all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Bluetooth, yeah.
And still have protection on it.
So
Yeah.
what other tips might you each have for people? We probably got maybe about 8 minutes left or something. So if each of you could take maybe 2 or 3 minutes just to say what tips that you would think and where people can contact you.
I have my business, the Heart Center for Alternative Medicine, is located in downtown Geneva. And one of my favorite things that I'm using right now is a equipment called Zyto. And it finds out exactly what's out of balance in your body and how to balance that. So it'll look at food allergies or if there's heavy metals or a chemical or whatever is creating an imbalance in your body and how to balance that. As well as it looks at the chakras and the energy too. So it incorporates all that.
So which thing are you using the most now? Do you still use a lot of the light therapy or no?
I do.
you?
Yes, I'm the techie girl. I'm the techie naturopath. So I have lots of different equipment and I use all of it in my business and I love it.
That's awesome. People can find me on my website, evolutionthenextlevel.com, and I do Skype sessions or phone sessions in person. I also work out of Crystal Rivers if they want to see me in person in Elgin. But really it is about embracing time for self and doing what it is we love to do. The more that we're doing what it is we love to do and we're happy about it, the more we open ourselves up to what's around. And really just being gentle with self and maybe saying no to someone once in a while is a great thing. And saying yes to ourselves, right?
Sure.
Get rid of, I don't have time.
My location is 412 63rd Street in Downers Grove. And
That's Fairview and 63rd, right?
Fairview, on the corner of Fairview and 63rd, yes. And my specialty is kind of the iridology aspect. I really enjoy reading eyes to see what's going on inside the body and recommending nutritional plans. And it's amazing how in-depth the study can be. Russians have PhDs in the study, so it's really advanced throughout the world. Some things that you can see, for example, I have a new client that's been coming to me for the last 30 days that was born deaf. He's 57 years old and who functions very well for a fella. He's got the hearing aids in, and when he says basically, when I look at people, he says, I'm reading their lips. I don't hear too much even with the hearing aids, you know. He looks right at you and he's really excellent at it. But as I did reflexology and acupressure on the reflex points related to the hearing, after a couple of treatments, I wasn't making too much progress, and I had helped 2 others in the past within 2 or 3 months restore their hearing. And in this case, I wasn't getting too much response, so I said, let me take a second look into your eyes. And I looked into the area of the splenic flexure, right where it comes down the descending colon, and there was a blockage there. And I asked him, I says, how often do you go to the bathroom? And he said, once a day or once every other day. And I says, well, we need to go after every major meal. So if you eat 3 times a day, you need to eliminate 3 times a day. So I said, let's work on that. But I said, hang on a second. Let's look and see where the nerve response related to that splenic flexure. And it pointed straight to hearing. So he was born deaf because he had a blockage in his splenic flexure.
So were you able to fix
So we're just starting to work on that splenic flexure to start to clean it out, and also work on the reflex point on his foot related to the hearing. So we're double teaming that particular area, and hopefully we'll have a good response. So that's kind of exciting things that can't be solved hardly any other way, and all we can do is try it, and there's no harm.
Right.
No harm.
Well, you had a relative too that wanted to get pregnant that couldn't. And
Yes.
Ended up with twins after seeing
That's
you.
right. I read my niece's eyes and then her husband's eyes, and I seen a lot of issues that could have been that we were going to address, and I said, don't expect anything to happen for at least a year. 13 months later, she conceives, and she had twins, a boy and a girl. So it was
Well, I know
kinda-
the one thing you say you
that's
take with you on a
amazing.
desert island would be aloe. You drink a lot
Yes.
of aloe, right?
I recommend that because if I could only recommend one health product that would probably help you the most and cover the most territory and most health issues, it would be a high quality brand of aloe vera.
Which you have at your office.
Yeah,
right.
there's actually over 300 different companies that produce it because they all got on the bandwagon. Whenever there's a product, the health product is out there, it seems like everybody comes at it and tries to reproduce it.
Well, and I know a nurse that made a mixture for patients who were having chemotherapy and radiation and their mouths got really sore, and she had an aloe mixture that would help that too.
Yes.
What's the one thing you'd take with you on a desert island?
I like proteins and amino acids. It's in a capsule form. I think that is like, it replaces a whole bunch of multivitamins, and
But do you take the capsule too?
I take the capsule, yes.
Is that dangerous to take the capsule?
No.
I don't think it is,
it
but I mean,
digests.
I've seen people open them up and put the stuff, you know, in
A lot of
rather
people have difficulty swallowing capsules, and they stick, you know, and you have to learn how to take them, and once you learn to take them, you can take them by the handful.
I know, and I do. I have taken it.
That's right.
So you have a protein shake, but you also have this other
A capsule.
thing, so
yes.
you're big on protein.
I am big on protein. We need it for every part of the
You
body.
need it for every part. Okay, I think we're down to just a minute or so. So I want to tell you again who we're talking to, because someone called in and said, please say at the end who you were talking to again in case they missed it. We have Dr. Melody Hart. She has the Heart Clinic. What exactly do you call it, the Heart?
The Heart Center for Alternative Medicine.
Okay, and what's your website?
Heartcenter.com, H-A-R-T.
Okay.
Yes.
David?
EvolutionTheNextLevel.com.
www.PathToNaturalHealth.
Right, and I think we don't often say yours, and we should say
That's
it.
true.
It's pathtonaturalhealth.com, or you can email him at Tony at pathtonaturalhealth.com.
Keep
right?
it simple.
So now you can find everybody. Just Google them, or email me at asktvnurse@yahoo.com, asktvnurse@yahoo.com. If you want to see these shows on Ustream, you can also Google me as Karen, K-A-R-O-N, Gibson, RN though. Otherwise, you're going to get a football player who has my name and is 17, and I don't like football, and I don't know how he got my name. His mother must watch the show. Anyway, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.